A faith healer convinced a pregnant woman to put a nail in her skull. A security guard drew eyes on $1 million painting because he was bored. And Build-A-Bear just launched a series of horny teddy bears. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian. I have 3 segments from around the world that are a little strange and out of the ordinary, not your mainstream news. Hopefully I'll make it somewhat funny. Here we go. A faith healer convinced a pregnant woman to put a nail in her own skull. A pregnant woman in Pakistan was so desperate to have a boy. She had already had 4 daughters. She was currently pregnant. She consulted a faith healer who claimed that he knew just what to do to ensure that she doesn't have any more daughters. Here's what you do. You hammer a 2-inch nail into your own skull. That'll do the trick. The woman has not been identified by the police. She arrived at the Lady Reading Hospital in Pakistan this week with bleeding from her skull. She at first told the medical staff that she was advised to recite spells and chants and then hammer the nail into her own skull to guarantee the gender of her unborn child. To guarantee that the gender would not be female, but instead would finally be a male. This is the bloodiest gender reveal party ever, except for that one where the woman was killed by a bomb. It says here, upon further investigation, doctors didn't quite believe her entire story. They were convinced that it was actually impossible for such a self-inflicted wound. They determined that someone else had to have hammered that nail into her skull. She could not have done it herself. Now, these doctors did not go to the police, but they posted images instead of the unusual head injury online, which seems strange to me. Why would you not go to the police? Doctors, you're just going to post photos online instead of go to the authorities? We've determined someone else put a nail in her head. Yeah, we're not going to go to the police. We're just going to post these pictures on Facebook and see what happens. Come on now. The police obviously were alerted to the images. They're now searching for this, quote, faith healer, this fake faith healer who advised this potentially fatal non-remedy. They are also searching for help identifying the person who led the woman astray. The police tweeted a photo of the pregnant woman's skull with the nail intact. I'm looking at a photo of it. It's outrageous, and I wouldn't have believed the story if I didn't see the photo, I don't think. Yeah, it's a picture of a skull. I think it's an MRI. Is that what you call it? Nail poking right out of it. I don't know how you convince somebody to put a nail in their head. It's just unreal. I can't convince somebody to pick me up from the airport. How do you convince someone to put a 2-inch nail in their own skull? This is unbelievable to me. And, you know, it's so sad that people still believe in these sorts of remedies, this kind of, primitive hocus pocus. Like, I can't even laugh at this woman. It's just sad that you're just so naive that you believe you would stick a nail in your head. It's like, what wouldn't you do? What? Oh, you want to have a boy? Here's what you do. You cut off your arm. That's what you do. You want a boy? You have to make love to this goat, and then it'll be a boy. People will just believe the most outlandish things in certain places. It's very sad. I mean, look at all the people that were drinking bleach to cure COVID. It's like, you don't even have to look that far to find nonsense. Says here, the poor woman, after having the nail removed from her head, she left the facility immediately. And they're using CCTV footage to try to retrace her steps from the hospital in order to find the culprit. Here's a quote from the police captain. The process of identifying the victim from the CCTV footage as well as from the computer entry data is underway. Whoever played with the life of this innocent woman, whoever put a nail in her head with the false promise of a male child will be dealt with. Now, the police are also investigating why the medical staff did not immediately alert authorities about this incident, which is something that I was wondering earlier in this segment as well. Lastly, it says in the story, this woman who did not have an ultrasound to determine her child's gender before sticking a nail in, wouldn't you have an ultrasound first to determine, maybe I don't need the nail in my head? She told the police that her husband threatened to leave her if she had another daughter. Very sad. I feel so bad for women in countries like this. It's just a lot of pressure. Sheesh. Couldn't do it. A security guard drew cartoon eyes on a $1 million painting because he was bored on the job. The Boris Yeltsin Presidential Center is a social and cultural center that opened in the town of Yekaterinburg in 2015. The museum is widely praised as being one of the best in Europe, as a matter of fact. It houses a number of rare artifacts and works of art that celebrate Russia's cultural heritage. So a very important place with very important paintings. One of these paintings is Anna Leporskaya's Three Figures. Leporskaya started the painting in 1932 and completed it in 1934. It features three faceless heads, all standing at different depths. Today, the artwork is actually valued at approximately $1 million. According to the media who originally reported this story, a security guard was working his first day on the job at the Yeltsin Center when he decided he would draw some eyes on this painting, The Three Figures, with a ballpoint pen. He later revealed he did it because he was bored on the job. Screwed up this painting. It was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I mean, like, one of the last people you'd expect to draw on a painting is the actual security guard working in the museum. You wouldn't even think to ask that in an interview. Okay, so you have security experience? Sure, you do? Okay, great. You're not going to draw on any of the paintings, are you, while you're at work? I mean, really? You're not going to do that, right? Okay, just making sure. You wouldn't even think to ask this. I can't believe it. He was bored. He just destroy a $1 million painting. 2 weeks went by before anyone even noticed that they had eyes. There were eyes on the painting. 2 weeks go by. Hey, I don't think there's supposed to be eyes on this painting. The Yeltsin Center filed a report with the police. They tracked down the security guard. Wow. The security guard is currently, of course, facing criminal charges, could face a fine, a work sentence, and or up to 3 months in prison if found guilty. I wonder if he's going to lose his job. What do you think? And while one could guess the status of his employment at the center, he was in fact fired after the incident. In case you're wondering what will become of the painting if it's lost its value, it says here the damage luckily isn't as grave as it could be. They have sent the Three Figures piece to Moscow to be restored. It will cost around $3,000 to remove the pen marks. Thankfully, there's insurance on the painting that's going to cover all the costs. So I assume it should retain its original $1 million value. Of course, the Yeltsin Center has since had to add protective screens over all of the remaining artwork inside the building. And I suppose they're altering their onboard procedure for security guards and maybe changing up the interview process as well. Let me ask you something. When you're standing for many, many hours, how bored do you actually get? Do you get so bored that you want to, I don't know, draw on the sculptures and paintings? We're just making sure here. You don't want to wipe your poo on a sculpture, do you, while you're really bored at work? Just want to make sure how bored you get. Because, it gets pretty boring when you're a security guard, Yay! You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. Build-A-Bear is launching a series of horny teddy bears. Build-A-Bear, the teddy bear retailer, has released a line of adult-themed bears labeled its After Dark collection. The After Dark collection, which debuted just in time for Valentine's Day, requires visitors to its website to ensure that they're 18 years or older before they can access the After Dark collection. Oh, yes, baby. After Dark teddies. Ooh, look at them, baby. They're so horny, these teddies. The website says, who said stuffed animals were just for the kids, huh? Why should they have all the fun, with the bears? The Build-A-Bear stuffed animal gift collection has something for everyone, including stuffed animals for adults who are just kids at heart. The bears in the After Dark collection don't appear to cross the line into overtly raunchy, of course. I mean, after all, this is Build-A-Bear. They do have an image. It's pretty wholesome in general. What you will get is bears holding wine, dressed in nothing but boxers, or wearing shirts that declare, "I want to take you out." I don't know who would want this stuff, but okay. When the cursor hovers over a bear on the website, the outfit disappears, revealing a regular naked teddy bear. Oh my God! So racy. In addition to the Valentine's Day adult-themed bears, Build-A-Bear, which launched in 1997, offers plush animals from a range of collaborations with brands like Star Wars and the Nintendo game Animal Crossing. And that's the end of the article. Who would want these bears? I mean, yeah, adults with teddy bears. It's just the infantilization goes on in our culture. It's like ridiculous. The advertising doesn't help, really. Build-A-Bears are like, all right, we got kids love teddy bears. They always have. How do we get adults to want a teddy bear? I mean, what do we do? Hey, man, I got an idea. What if we put one holding wine or liquor or perhaps a crack pipe? What about that? Why don't we have a teddy bear that's got its pants down at a bus stop? We'll call it the Florida Man Teddy. What about that? If you want to sell to adults, you got to do this kind of stuff. What about a teddy bear holding an AR-15? What about that, huh? What do you think of that? That could appeal to adults? I don't know. It's Valentine's Day. Who wouldn't want a teddy bear with an AR-15? I think that'd be pretty cool. Guys. Come on now. Yeah, what are we doing here? Guys, don't be duped by Build-A-Bear. Don't buy your significant other a half-naked teddy bear. This is just ridiculous. I'm going to tell you what you do for Valentine's Day, okay? You get yourself a backpack full of wine, cheese, crackers, maybe some pepperoni sticks. Make sure you bring a knife. You're going to cut that shit later. And then you take your loved one on a long hike to a secluded hot spring. If you can't find a hot spring in your area, just fill the tub up with some hot water. Light a couple candles. Oh, man, a secluded hot spring out in nature with some wine and cheese. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Yeah, if you want to make it a little more flavorful, bring some mushrooms with you. Nothing like just relaxing in a hot spring under the stars after having some pepperoni and mushrooms with your significant other. Come on, guys. I know what to do. What I've been saying is I got weird news for you. I do. And now you're at the outro where I give thanks and praise. If you'd like to call the show, by the way, the number is 646-450-2012. I forgot to say that earlier. If any of these stories resonated with you and you feel compelled to reach out and connect with your old pal Jonesy, feel free. You can email me as well, funnyjones@gmail.com. I got an email, so I'm going to give a shout-out to someone with a cool name, Arcanine Espion. Arcanine Espion. I don't know if I said that right. Arcanine sent me an article and said, good luck with your life, man. So I want to give a shout-out to Arcanine for emailing me. Appreciate that. I got a bunch of people who reached out on YouTube as well. Lindaway Hlachwayo wrote a comment. Michelle F. as well. And we have Phoenix Chimera. I forget how you say that with the CHIMA. It's Chimera, right? Emerus King wrote some nice comments. Who else? Yeah, that's about it. So I got people on the YouTube that make comments, and it takes me a while to get to you guys. I'm not on the YouTube as much, although I put all the episodes up there. So I want to thank you guys for interacting on there as well. I got to be better about that, being on the YouTube. But it's a whole other platform, and it just it requires just as much attention as the other platforms if you want it to get anywhere, which is why my YouTube channel only has 1,000 subscribers, which is nothing. But I'll have to make an effort to be back on there and interact more. I apologize. I go on there when I can. But, recording 5 days a week just takes up a lot of time. Just doing the audio, never mind, the other stuff. So I want to thank you all for reaching out, supporting, for subscribing. Please tell a friend about the show if you think they might benefit from it. In other words, maybe they're depressed because of mainstream news, and which is just hard on the soul, and it's hard on you mentally and physically. It really is. It makes your blood pressure go up, doesn't it? It makes you want to get involved in one of those things called addiction. Yes, it makes you want to get involved in that because you want to forget that you exist on this planet. Yeah, that happens too. So Weird AF News is kind of an antidote for that, right? Makes you laugh a little bit. I recommend you listen to it after mainstream news if you're going to do any mainstream news. If you're going to take your mainstream news in, wash it down with some weird news at the end. Yeah. Give Jonesy a little let Jonesy be your chaser, in other words. Hey, look I'm just coming up with pretty cool analogies that all have something to do with drinking. It's so strange. Anyways, if you'd like to support the show by joining my Patreon, because that's the way to do it, support the show by going to patreon.com/weirdafnews. I've been posting a lot of content in there lately, as a matter of fact, including follow-up stories to stories that I've been doing, because sometimes new information comes out, and I'm not going to do another whole story on it on the podcast, but I'll put the follow-up story in the Patreon so you can keep up with what's going on with all the weird news in the world. I'm doing the best I can, guys. It's a one-man show here, trying to build an empire. Hey, go to patreon.com/weirdafnews and help me build this empire. Or go to weirdafnews.com and click on the Patreon link. Or download the Patreon app and do a search for Weird AF News. And now for a couple phone calls. Hope you're okay, guys. Love you. Oh, I forgot. Tomorrow's Friday, Florida Friday. So send me Florida articles. If you're new to the show, on Friday, I only do weird news out of Florida. So if you come across a weird Florida story from this past week, please drop me the link. You could do that by going to weirdafnews.com and submitting a link through there, or emailing it to me, funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can send it through Instagram @funnyjones. Okay, bye.
Hey, Jonesy, it's Michael calling from Iowa City. I hope you're well. And I'm calling in regards to your story from yesterday that was about your desire to see that drugs not be taken out of baseball. I know the contract has ended, and you say, go ahead, let them have their steroids. I'm with you on most things, but I'm not of the same mind of thinking on this one. The drugs need to stay out of baseball. Baseball is not a full body contact sport like football, and it just needs to be a man and his baseball bat against the ball, and it's no place for body enhancing drugs like the steroids and human growth hormone and those kinds of things. It needs to stay pure like it has been throughout the years. You go back to people like DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth, and it's just go out there and you do what you do, and it's just your athletic body doing the best that you can, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should stay. When you've got your statistics, they have to be compared to the people, the greats of the past, Jackie Robinson, people like that. And when you've got these drugs that are boosting the stats up, like you did with Sammy Sosa, and you see Mark McGwire's forearms that are more like the average person's size. Barry Bonds, you look at his rookie card, and then you look at him after several years in there, his head has grown 10 sizes. I mean, at the end, they were having to go out and steal the little hat off the top of the Napa Auto Parts trucks in order to have a hat that would fit Barry Bonds' head. It's ridiculous. And people's skulls don't grow unless they're on steroids, and that's what they're having to do with him. It's ridiculous. And there's no place for it in baseball. So, I mean, if anything, we'll take our baseball players fat and drunk like we had with Babe Ruth, but drugs need to stay out of it. And, things like extreme wrestling or extreme boxing, mixed martial arts, that kind of thing should just be outright banned. There's no place for it in the world. And boxing, where the goal is to hit the other person in the head until they're knocked out, also barbaric, and it should be second on the list for being banned, and football is third. But, of course there's billions of dollars in it, and it's not going to happen. We'll take them one step at a time, and the first should be the mixed
Hey, Jonesy, Weirdos, this is Jenny in New Orleans calling to say what's up.